Today, we are talking about one of my favorite revenge stories in gaming, Max Payne, a gritty noir style game with witty liners, symbolism, corruption, and conspiracies. Through the game's graphic novel panels, Max narrates his descent into hell, his tone cold, cynical, and drenched in noir. You play as Max Payne, a detective for the NYPD at the time whose life is spiraling into madness after his wife and infant daughter are murdered by junkies high on a designer drug called Valkyr. I'll let Max do the explaining on this one.
To make any kind of sense of it, I need to go back 3 years. Back to the night the pain started. I was still in the force back then. NYPD, Manhattan, Midtown North Precinct, Hell's Kitchen.
So when are you coming to work for me, Detective Payne?
You'd make me work undercover in some hellhole. Sorry, Alex. Michelle and the baby come first. See? My last smoke. It's bad for the baby.
That's you, Max. A regular Boy Scout.
See, Alex.
Still on for poker Thursday night, right?
Like taking candy from a baby. Life was good. The sun setting on a sweet summer's day. The smell of freshly mowed lawns. The sounds of children playing. A house across the river on the Jersey side. Beautiful wife and a baby girl. The American dream come true. Honey, I'm home. But dreams have a nasty habit of going bad when you're not looking. The sun went down with practiced bravado. Twilight crawled across the sky, laden with foreboding. Michelle, honey, anybody home? I didn't like the way the show started. They'd give me the best seat in the house, front row center.
Okay, so when we arrive as Max to his house, the place has been broken into and torn apart as if some struggle were taking place here. Furniture flipped over and the walls vandalized. We can hear an argument taking place along with the cries of Max's daughter and screams coming from his wife, followed by a few rounds being shot. Two thugs exit the room where his daughter laid, who are taken care of quickly. Then the unfortunate occurs.
No, please, God, no. Oh, God, no, please, Michelle. Oh, baby.
Michelle and the baby have been murdered in cold blood.
No! That was 3 years ago. Everything ripped apart in a New York minute. The killer junkies had been high on a previously unknown designer drug, Valkyr, V. After the funeral, I told Alex I'd be transferring to the DEA. It took us 3 long years to get a break in the Valkyr case. Then, finally, 2 months ago, a dime dropper tipped us off that Jack Lupino, a mob boss in the Punchinello crime family, was trafficking. I went undercover, infiltrated the worst mafia family in New York. I came in from the cold and the dark. Outside the city was a cruel monster. I've been slowly working my way from the small time to the big fish, trying to get to the source of the drug. Alex and BB were my only contacts in the DEA, the only ones in this decrepit city who knew I was down here.
BB here. Something urgent has come up with Jack Lupino. You need to meet with Alex immediately at the Roscoe Street station.
I hadn't had a face-to-face with Alex since I'd gone undercover. Outside, the mercury was falling fast. It was colder than the devil's heart, raining ice pitchforks as if the heavens were ready to fall. Everyone was running for shelter like there was no tomorrow. It didn't get any better when I got to the subway. The feeling hit me like a point-blank shot straight in the face. Something was not right about this. My Beretta stirred nervously under my coat, but the train doors had already shut behind me, and I was in for the ride. Next stop, Roscoe Street Station, and Alex. The station was drenched in gloom. Alex was a ghost, nowhere to be seen. I'd have to look for him.
Okay, so 3 years later, and Max is working for the DEA, and we have a crack in the case. The Lupino crime family has been trafficking that same drug that the junkies were high off of when they murdered Max's wife and daughter.
Death was in the air at Roscoe Street. I'd have to find Alex fast.
We have a contact named Alex who we are to meet up with at the Roscoe Street station. When we arrive at the station, something doesn't feel right. The station is deserted, trashed, and riddled with mobsters, and like Max said, death is in the air. After a shootout with low-level mobsters, Max comes across a locked door to the control room that needs an access code. We save a police officer who is at gunpoint by a thug who says he can unlock the door mentioned. Once the door is opened, however, there is a mobster inside who kills the officer. In the control room, we turn the power back on and can now ride the train into the next area.
For being subtle.
The rail is blocked and tunnels filled with scheming mobsters from the Lupino crime family.
The door led to an abandoned part of the station, closed off since the early 40s. Something big was going down at Roscoe Street. Maybe that's why Alex had wanted to meet me here. Maybe not. One way or the other, I was gonna find out.
After dealing with the mobsters, Max arrives in front of 3 separate vaults where he receives a phone call.
We come to you now live from the crime scene.
Who is this?
Right back at you.
This is Deputy Chief Jim Bravura from the NYPD. You are to cease your criminal activities and surrender immediately.
Sure thing, Jim. Me and the boys have been talking and everyone's real sorry. They'll never do it again.
Who the hell is this?
Being placed at the scene of a bank robbery wouldn't have tipped the odds in my favor. The bank robbers have been after Acer Corporation bonds. The Acer success story had recently been on every channel and on the cover of every magazine.
Turns out we are in the Acer Corporation vault, where we discover that the crooks were after the bonds held inside. We make our escape dealing with anyone who gets in our way. When we arrive at the Roscoe Street, we finally meet up with Alex, our contact while we are undercover.
Hold it! Max! Jesus, you almost gave me a heart attack! I nearly shot you!
Alex, I'm glad to see you.
What the hell's going on? There are more corpses here than at the city morgue!
It's an armed robbery, a tunnel job straight to the Roscoe Bank vault through the old station wall. Is this why... this is Lupino's gig?
This is Lupino's doing? Lupino's men? Really?
You sure know how to pick a place? Can you get through?
No, it's locked. We gotta get out of here. If it's Lupino, it's... Alex? Alex!
There was nothing I could do. He was dead. I could tell by the empty, accusing stare of his eyes.
Alex had just been murdered by one of Jack Lupino's men, and with the wail of sirens in the distance, being placed at the scene of the crime would not be a good look for Max, who was undercover at the time.
Alex had kept me relatively sane for the past 3 years. Now I didn't know how I felt. Somehow he had stumbled upon something big and ended up stepping on Jack Lupino's toes. Lupino ran his racket of sex, drugs, and contract killings from a sleazy hotel in a slum block of tenements. The NYPD was closing in. I could hear the sirens. Their wail was a crescendo. Lupino thought he could get us by taking Alex out and leaving me to take the fall for it. All he had gotten was my attention. I went for the hotel first. It was a sad old thing with flickering lamps and faded colors, cheap mobster punks and tired-eyed prostitutes. I walked straight in, playing at Bogart, like I'd done 100 times before. The place was run by a couple of murdering mobsters with shark smiles. The Finito brothers.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the pain in the butt. Pain to the max.
You're killing me. You make that up yourselves, or you get some wino downstairs to come up with it. Don't answer that. A rhetorical question. I got something for the boss. Lupino around?
That kind of depends on who's asking. A friend or a junk squad plan. Don't answer. It's one of them, how do you put it, rhetorical questions. Lupino ain't here, but he says bye.
Lupino wasn't in his cheap hotel. Instead, I ran into the Finito brothers. My cover had been blown. The door slammed shut behind me, and then I was dodging bullets like raindrops.
Like Max said, we arrived at a hotel managed by Jack Lupino, but he's not around. Instead, we find the Finito brothers. In that moment, our cover is blown and the whole thing turns into a shoot house where we have to blast our way out, putting to sleep those in our way, starting with the Finito brothers.
I had met Lupino only once. The gangster ran all his rackets through his right-hand man, Vinny Gognitti. Gognitti was a high-strung whiner on the verge of breaking apart, like an overamped Energizer bunny. He had the brains to run the business, but he lacked the balls, always falling short, taking his frustration out on underage addicts and call girls.
The V deal goes down at your hotel. Jack's exact words, quote, "Vinny, you're in charge of this one," unquote. "Rico Muerte's coming to see it through. Anything goes wrong and everybody's gonna get dead. Goes double for you. Treat this guy real good. Anything he wants, you give him. Don't screw this up or you're finito, finitos."
A V deal meant added security, locked doors, and lots of nervous thugs with itchy trigger fingers. I'd seen nothing coming in, but that didn't mean it hadn't been there. Rico Muerte was a regular Kaiser Soze, a spook story told to keep the apes in line. 313. The Finitos had scribbled Muerte's room number on the note's margin.
After the brothers are put down, we find out that a deal is going down involving Rico Muerte, a boogeyman so to speak. His room number was on the note, so that's where we're heading, killing any mobsters on the way until we arrive at the room 313 where Rico and the deal were meant to be found. On the way, we hear an interesting radio broadcast.
In his press conference today, the mayor stated that Valkyr represents a clear danger to New York and called for drastic actions to eliminate the problem. On today's top story, the Valkyr crisis worsens with the murder of DEA Special Agent Alex Balder. Special Agent Balder had been shot repeatedly from a point-blank range. The gunman has been identified as Max Payne. The noose is sure to tighten around this fugitive criminal as more NYPD units join the search to apprehend him.
I had just gotten my 15 minutes of fame.
Alongside the plague of Valkyr in New York City, we had been framed for the murder of our colleague, Alex, even more fuel to the flame. I want to point out that this hotel is a shithole. Sex rooms fill the halls and junkies crash in restrooms, alongside with the already mobsters in the vicinity. We were here to clean up the place for a bit. A news broadcast appears on TV talking about the prior incident.
Tonight, the city's fight against the nightmare drug Valkyr took a turn for the worse, as DEA Special Agent Alex Balder was found brutally slain at the Roscoe Street subway station. A suspect was seen leaving the site only moments after the shots had been fired, and the NYPD is currently in pursuit of Max Payne, a repeated felon believed to be armed and extremely dangerous. And now the weather. The worst winter storm in recorded history continues to pound the city.
When we arrive at Rico's room, we find a note that was left behind.
Our investigation had turned up nothing to link Angelo Punchinello, the head of the Punchinello family, to Valkyr. All tracks had ended with Jack Lupino. The letter in Muerte's room was signed by the Don himself. It was the first hint that the Kingpin knew what was brewing inside his syndicate.
The trouble you got into after the Chicago screw-up. The Punchinello family bailed you out. You have been waiting for a chance to pay us back. One of our trusted boys has a monkey the size of King Kong on his back. We need your special skills for backup on a major deal.
Collecting evidence had gotten old a few hundred bullets back. I was already so far past the point of no return, I couldn't even remember what it looked like when I had passed it.
While making our escape from the hotel, Max finds a diary from a hooker.
The diary belonged to a hooker named Candy Dawn. The read would have made a vice cop blush.
Had talks with the mystery hag over the phone again. Sent to the latest One-Eyed Alfred tape. As long as the hag keeps paying for the tapes, the old man could come every day for all I care.
She had a nice sideline, making secret X-rated flicks of her clients and selling them to the highest bidder. It would get her killed if her V-fix for the day didn't do it first.
Underground, we have another broadcast regarding the blizzard ravaging New York.
A winter storm warning is in effect in the whole tri-state area, as both freezing rain and heavy snowfall continue. Many roadways are already closed, and people are advised to stay indoors. The severe blizzard has ravaged New York for 3 days now, with no end in sight.
We'd been snowed from the start in the Valkyr case. The forecast said there was plenty more where that had come from. But the snowbound city was on my side. Less chance of innocent bystanders getting caught in the crossfire.
Max finds an interesting newspaper on the floor next to a dead man.
A dead man tied to a chair lay on the boiler room floor.
Captain Baseball Bat Boy has an unbeatable track record in superhero death matches. But a six-pack of root beer gets me every time.
The murder weapon was a baseball bat, now lying in a pool of drying blood next to a newspaper folded open on a Captain Baseball Bat Boy comic strip.
Shooting our way through the underground of the hotel until we end up at the bar/restaurant managed by Rico Muerte. We find a key to the bar and meet the man himself, along with that hooker mentioned earlier.
Two mad dog killers, ready to murder each other. They step into the next room, and I'm thinking, now they're gonna do it. But no. They sit down in front of a TV and solve their differences with the Kung Fu fighting video game. I tell you, Candy, I was so depressed, I strangled them both with the video game cables.
Oh, Rico, you're so bad.
I am, ain't I?
Rico Muerte, big-time hustler.
Who the hell?
It's that cop.
Muerte went for his gun.
A firefight ensues, bullets going off like fireworks, leaving everyone in the room but Max dead in the water. On the way out of the reception area, we found a telephone switchboard.
There was an old telephone switchboard in the back room of the reception area, the kind that made phone tapping child's play. It wasn't hard to picture a fat pimp sweating with headphones on, listening to his hookers talk dirty and fake orgasms over a web of party lines. The blood veins of New York. Right now, there was a different set of moans and groans going on.
Boss, Cornelia, this is Max Payne. He came, started capping us. He killed him. Are you freaking kidding me? He's just one lousy cop. You better be freaking kidding me. Whack him. What's the freaking problem? Hello? Answer me. Hello?
The word was out. A deadly virus released into the city's corrupt circulatory system. Something wicked this way comes. Max Payne at large.
So that was Vincent Gognitti, the man that was mentioned earlier, who also turns out to be another person of interest in Max's rage-fueled revenge.
Turn around, walk away, blow town. That would have been the smart thing to do. Guess I wasn't that smart. Lupino's tenement buildings were a seedy hangout for all kinds of sleaze. A liquor store, a pawn shop, a laundromat full of mobster bookies and loan sharks. The list went on. The how and why of it was a mystery to me, but they knew I was a cop. They knew I was coming, and they were going to get real trigger happy about it. I got to see Lupino's hangout all lit up. A bomb went off, turning snow into liquid gold. A pillar of fire lifted the remains of a car straight up into the air. The flames were highlighted on the hood of a black Mercedes-Benz as it coasted down the street real slow, as if the driver didn't have a worry in the world. I got a good look at the man riding shotgun. It was Vladimir, the head of the local Russian mob, the fly in Don Punchinello's soup. The ringing in my ears was the sound of a mob war being waged. Another bomb exploded inside the closest slum building. It was a lucky break. The goons inside were spooked, but luck always came with a price tag. More bombs could still be ticking inside, and the cops would already be on their way. Jack Lupino's suite was on the top floor. At least it used to be, before the explosive makeover.
On top of the Italian mafia, the Russian mob had essentially waged a war. That was the least of Max's worries as we make our way to the top floor of a slum building where Jack Lupino's suite is located, clearing out each adjacent building managed by the mafia until we arrive in the building where the bomb went off. With more explosions to follow, the place was rigged to explode. Exploring the building, we receive a strange phone call.
A beaten up phone in the entrance hall was ringing. It could have been just a junkie in need of a fix, but it turned out to be something more sinister than that.
Am I speaking to Mr. Payne?
Who wants to know?
My name is Alfred Woden. You must hurry. The police are on their way.
Tell me something I don't know.
They know you're there.
How? And what's it to you?
I will contact you again.
The cops arrived, sirens singing in the off-key harmony of a manic-depressive choir. I had a few minutes while the SWAT team would go through their usual routine. By the time they busted in, I needed to be long gone.
Max Payne, this is Deputy Chief Jim Bravura from the NYPD. Drop your weapons and come out with your hands above your head.
Alright, so that was Alex Woden, someone who will turn up throughout the story. With the SWAT outside, it's time to blow this joint. A letter is found on the way out left by Vinny Gognitti.
Suddenly it all made sense. The bombs, the Russian mob boss making an appearance in person. Gognitti was his usual self, all talk and no walk.
After our hit, the Russian has only a couple of guns left and they can be bought. There's no freaking way he has the guts to try anything after that.
As it turned out, the Russian had plenty of guts. One thing you could count on, you push a man too far and sooner or later he'd start pushing back. The bombs had destroyed all the stairs up to Lupino's office. The alternate route led there by way of adjoining rooftops.
To get to the suite, we have to cross the rooftop connected to the laundromat, also managed by the mob. We can't go inside until we find a random junkie who can let us in through him.
No, don't shoot.
You know the clowns at the laundry?
Me? No.
You're no good to me then.
What? No, the laundry, yeah. I know him, yeah.
Get me in there.
Okay.
Inside the laundromat, the junkies turn on us and the room's walls are soon painted red. Taking the elevator, we see another broadcast on TV.
New York City is in crisis tonight, with reports of Valkyr-related gang war in the streets of the Bronx. Apparently, Max Payne, wanted for questioning in connection with the slaying of a DEA special agent earlier tonight, is waging a one-man war against his former partners in crime. Among the listed casualties so far are notorious mafia members Joey and Virgilio Finito, as well as Rico Muerte, himself a fugitive from the law, and a suspect for several murders in the Chicago area. The NYPD has been placed on full alert. A citywide APB has been put out on Max Payne. Deputy Chief Jim Bravura has promised to take whatever steps necessary to bring him to justice. What those steps may be remains to be seen. For NYCNN TV News, this is Kira Silver.
After clearing out the building, we come face to face with the man himself, Vinny Gognitti in Lupino's suite.
Vinny Gognitti, just the man I've been killing to see.
Payne? Freaking fed! I knew from day one there was something screwy about you. What do you think you're doing? You're a freaking cop. You ain't got squad on us. You can't just come in here waving your piece like it meant something. Yeah! Oh my God! Oh God, you shot me! Ah! You're dead, Payne! And what the hell are you waiting for, you apes? Kill him! Kill him!
With pleasure, boss.
Gognitti bailed. I made like Chow Yun Fat.
Now the chase is on for Gognitti, where on the way we find a note from Vinny himself addressed to the Don.
The letter was addressed to Don Punchinello, but Vinny had never had the nerve to finish it.
Jack's gone voodoo. Just the other night, he shot Dino because he wanted to see what his brains looked like splattered on the wall. He's a freaking mad dog. We're running out of men and business fast.
Gognitti had been living in mortal fear of his boss. Jack Lupino was a psycho. Vinny Gognitti was really scared. He could run, but with a bullet in his stomach like a broken bottle of Tabasco, he was quickly running out of time.
Max chases Gognitti through buildings and rooftops until we finally catch up to the man.
This was my second train ride of the night. The way it started didn't promise anything better than the last one. Freezing wind tearing at my face like sandpaper and razors, ice hard and slick under my hands and feet. Somewhere in the background, the wail of sirens, the city howling after me. New York sped by and fast forward. Dark rooftop water towers and a dead forest of antennas and chimneys, all a blur. When the train he was riding slowed down, Gognitti made his move.
We shoot our way through rooftops and buildings under construction. The in-game shows mirror Max's own psychological state, blurring the lines between his reality and a metaphorical descent into madness. After clearing the area, we finally catch up to Vinny Gognitti and his shakedown time.
Gognitti ran out of steam in a dead-end alley with steam boiling out of the sewer grates like all the fires of hell were burning high beneath us. It was shakedown time. Where's Lupino?
Screw you!
Bad start, Vinny.
Police brutality!
I rate pretty high on that.
You can't just hurt me in cold blood?
Just keep telling yourself that. Listen good, Candyman. I'm not gonna be anybody's fall guy. I want to know where your boss is hiding. There was no glory in this. I hadn't asked for this crap. Trouble had come to me in big dark swarms. The good and the just were like gold dust in the city. I had no illusions. I was not one of them. I was no hero. Just me and the gun and the crook. My options had decreased to a singular course.
I'll tell you, just don't hurt me no more. Lupino's at Ragnarok, the nightclub. Book me, take me in the whole minute to freaking jail, just don't hurt me.
Your rights will be read at your funeral. Ragnarok was Lupino's private nightclub, a den of drugs built into an old theater. I knew what waited inside. V-head junkies ready to explode in random acts of senseless violence. And Lupino's goon squad, the worst stone-cold killers this side of hell. Ragnarok was as inviting as a headache, flickering and flashing to a machine gun beat. The belly of the nightclub was a gothic theme park that began with bondage games and led to the nasty stuff from there.
We have another lead. Jack Lupino is supposed to be at the Ragnarok nightclub, and you're about to see soon that shit gets pretty wild at this place. And if you hadn't caught on to like some of these words, like for example, like Valkyr kind of sounds like Valkyrie, the warrior figure, or Ragnarok sounds like Ragnarok, the end of days. Right away in the nightclub, we find an interesting book.
Given the setting, I was surprised to find that somebody had been passing time reading. The paperback was entitled, The Age of Murder and Storm. The blurb on the back mentioned Norse mythos and Ragnarok, the end of a Viking world with a terrible winter that covered the earth in ice, when vile crimes were rampant and all humanity lost. I could see how somebody impressionable might get it into their head that we were at the end of time. I was also beginning to see what the nightclub and its owner were all about.
We, as Max, blast our way through the nightclub, and in a room, Max finds something intriguing on the way to give the owner a hello.
The room was stacked with light reading, such as Necronomicon, Witchcraft, and Paradise Lost. Old exotic titles like Malleus Maleficarum and De Umbrarum Reini Novum Portis. Books with pentagrams on their covers, all dealing with the occult and the infernal, lying between stacks of horror videos and a couple of Ouija boards. The only thing I could take seriously was the thought of Lupino taking it seriously. He had been spending a lot of time getting intimate with the guy downstairs.
So someone is getting a little ahead of themselves, believing in the occult and the mythos, but little did they know we were on the way to snap them back into reality and into the morgue. Past the concert hall and the backstage, we make our way into the inner sanctum of Lupino, where we find out just how sick in the head this man is.
The backstage area led to Lupino's inner sanctum. The hot air inside was like an invisible wall, thick with incense and something else, a sickly sweet smell that made you gag. Jack Lupino was crazy, all right. The table was scattered with notes of demented arcane nonsense written in rusty blood, a mishmash list of demons, devils, and dark gods evoked.
Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Baphomet, Lucifer, Loki, Cthulhu, Lilith, Hela, blood given to you all.
He was after that old Faustian deal, your soul for power and fortune. Just sign on the dotted line with your blood. Jack Lupino was crazy, all right.
Mythic wolves, let loose to devour the sun and the moon. Lupino is the wolf. I'm Mr. Beast, the big bad Fenris wolf. I'm the end of the world man, wearing the flesh of fallen angels.
After Y2K, the end of the world had become a cliche. But who was I to talk? A brooding underdog avenger alone against an empire of evil, out to right a grave injustice. Everything was subjective. There were only personal apocalypses. Nothing is a cliche when it's happening to you.
Okay, so that was some shit, but listen to this real quick.
The flesh of fallen angels, come to me all. Astaroth, Beelzebub, Asmodeus, Baphomet, Lucifer, Loki, Satan, Cthulhu, Lilith, Ella. Blood to you all. Secret of reality. I've seen it. The corruption of flesh.
So after that, we were ambushed by Lupino's men and quickly deal with them until the man of the hour makes his appearance.
I had known there'd have to be a catch in it somewhere, and this one was the Empire State Building of catches. Lupino was pumped up and dying to go 15 rounds with a mutant alligator. And then he started this spooky monkey talk, straight from a bad dream. Mine.
I have tasted the flesh of fallen angels. I've tasted the devil's green blood. It runs in my veins. I've seen beyond a world of skin, the architecture of blood and bow and arrow. Death is coming! She is coming, and hell follows with her. This is the twilight winter. I am ready to be her son. Her time is now, and all who stand in her way must die! Die! You'll die! You'll die! Now! All die!
Spooky monkey talk indeed, but the only thing we believe in right now is a sense of logic and guns. And I'm going to say this right now, the quote-unquote boss fights aren't that hard. As you can only see, it took a shot and a couple of mollies to write Lupino off.
When Lupino finally went down, I wanted to make real sure he'd stay that way. V was a bad monster. Turned them into friggin' zombie demons from outer space.
I think he's dead already.
Huh? And that's when it happened.
But dead or not, you've got the wrong guy.
In stepped this knockout femme fatale holding a gun to my face. I returned the favor. Lisa Punchinello. Lisa Punchinello was the Don's wife.
Mona Sachs. Lisa's evil twin.
Your safety's off, evil twin. You might hurt someone with that gun of yours.
Lisa's the damsel in distress. I'm the professional. I'd blow you away without batting an eye.
Sure, and you can check out my credentials splattered all over this joint.
Jack couldn't have framed you. Not the state he was in. We're after the same slime bag. Angelo Punchinello's the one who murdered your friend and framed you with it.
You know this for a fact.
I've got my sources.
I don't have a clue these days. I just shoot them as they come. Who put a contract on the Archfiend?
This one's mine. I hate the guts of that sadistic wife-beater. Why not pool our bullets for this one?
I thought you'd never ask. My finger was starting to twitch.
How do you like your whiskey?
I'm easy, as long as you don't try to slip me a Mickey.
You're a real angel, Max.
It was good stuff. Tasted sweet as honey going down.
Nothing personal. Can't risk you going berserk and getting Lisa killed.
The nightmare was always the same. Violent shapes moving in darkness, old and ugly. The killer's mad laughter was a riddle filled with wicked innuendo.
So we had actually killed the wrong guy with the true mastermind called Angie Punchinello at large. This comes from Mona Sachs, the sister of Punchinello's wife. She roofies us, and this is where most tedious level begins. Within the drug-fueled nightmare, we see how badly the situation regarding Max's wife and child still haunts him till this day. These surreal moments are more than just gameplay. They symbolize Max's psyche fracturing under trauma. Each nightmare pulls us deeper into his regret, showing how vengeance consumes him as much as the drug destroys the city. Cries of his wife and child fill the halls of the puzzle-like level. On top of navigating this labyrinth, there's some tedious platforming where you have to follow the correct red line, and an easy trick to this is to follow not the wailing but the actual cry itself. Along the way we get flashes of what's happening in real life as Max is captured by the mob and being tortured. After arriving into the room where it all went down, we finally come to our senses and see a thug with a baseball bat while we are tied to a chair.
head felt 2 sizes too small for my brain.
Max Payne. I envy your name.
And the killer was smiling.
Pleased to meet you. I'm Frankie the Bat Niagara.
Niagara, as in you cry a lot? He had a baseball bat and I was tied to a chair. Pissing him off was the smart thing to do.
Nothing wrong with a little laugh now and then. Take me, for example. I love to watch cartoons. Cartoon violence is a fascinating thing. Let's take a break. I need to take a leak and maybe grab a cold one at the bar. Don't worry. I'll be back to finish this off. And then, it's checkout time.
You play, you pay, you bastard. He swaggered out, and the door clanged shut behind him, locks clicking into place. Everyone makes mistakes. Mine hadn't been to crack jokes about the goon with the bat. He'd have cracked my skull regardless. It hadn't even been to trust a girl with a gun. I had blindly gone after the first bad guy on my hit list when I should have been aiming further up the ladder, at the head of the Punchinello family. I couldn't bring myself to be pissed at Mona. Guess I had a soft spot for her pretty face. But when somebody decides to play baseball with your head, you tend to get sore. They had dragged me back to the basement of Lupino's hotel. I was beaten, bruised, and blue. I felt like the chair I had broken to get free.
A couple of things to note here is that the whole time we were in that nightmare, Max was being beaten by a bat in real time by Frankie Niagara, the same man responsible for killing that unknown man earlier with a baseball bat, and who had left that comic earlier in the story. We are stripped of all of our weaponry with only that same baseball bat covered in our own blood to use as a weapon. This becomes a stealth-like level as our health is literally 1 HP as we begin, and the whole place is riddled with armed mobsters. Once we make it to the elevator, things become a little easier as we require some weapons. Precise gunplay is needed since we are 1 HP at this point still, but thank the Lord we managed to come across some painkillers, the main method of healing in this game. We make our escape and head back into the hotel for some much needed payback time.
The men in blue had come and gone. They had decorated the place with chalk outlines and tied it together with yellow tape. The cops who had stayed behind were dead. Frankie, his boys, and I had the place all for ourselves.
As you can see, the cops had secured this place but departed, so it's just Max and Frankie. Along the way, we overhear a mobster on the phone.
Just forget about it. Just forget about it. Hey, just forget about it. That crazy witch, you should have heard her. She was a real scream when the boys caught her trying to cap the Don. Oh, that's friggin' bad. To the trio? That's even worse than what Frankie's doing to that poor bastard downstairs. She's gonna take a long time to die.
The mobster muscle on the phone was talking about Mona. Punchinello's trio were nothing but bad news.
After clearing the room, a radio broadcast is heard.
The fact remains that all the victims so far identified in the Ragnarok shooting have been known criminals, many of whom had large doses of V in their blood. Reliable sources say that Max Payne was also among those killed, although no body has been recovered at this time.
Reliable sources. That meant somebody thought the Mafia had me, didn't want the cops snooping around anymore. The body would be delivered to them barely recognizable. Case closed. Don Punchinello had the power to be that reliable source, which was no news. But his news was old news. Framing me hadn't been enough. Don Punchinello had put a hit on me. He wanted me dead, and it had been important enough for him to give written instructions to Frankie about it.
Max Payne should die like a dog for the trouble he's caused. Frankie, I know I can trust you to give this matter the dedication it needs.
So Max had been reported as a casualty by Don Punchinello to the news station, but in reality the Don wants Max to himself as he's put a hit on Max. Back at the bar, we run into our favorite person, Frankie Niagara and his goons.
The hotel bar was fast developing quite a history. True to his words, Frankie was there, having a beer.
Jesus Christ. How the hell did you get loose?
Got bored waiting. Thought, what the hell, we could just as well finish this here.
This fight is kind of tricky since you kind of have to deal with them one at a time, or you could just go in guns blazing in bullet time. After we finish Frankie, we see the comic he was reading, and as we make our way out, we run into some interesting fellows.
Thank you. You've been a lovely audience. Had enough? I don't play with girls anyway. Unfair!
I spotted the tail as soon as I left the hotel. A big black Mercedes. I'd seen the car before. That time it had heralded impressive explosions. Vladimir was back.
Bang. You're dead, Max Payne.
I might have laughed if I remembered how. What's this supposed to be? Cops and robbers? Look, you want something with me? Get in line.
Peace, man. Relax. You know you are a real news item. Armed and dangerous. I am going to make you an offer you can't refuse. I've always wanted to say that.
It's a bum rap. I've been framed.
Well, that's a moot point. Whatever you did or did not do, I'm sure you had good reason for doing it. Want to hear me out?
I'm listening.
Punchinello messing with V is bad for business all around. But that's not all. There is this guy, Boris Dime, used to pull jobs for me. He's the captain of the cargo ship Charon. Now the bastard turncoat has gone over to the other side, Punchinello's. The ship's loaded with high-res hardware, guns, my business. If Punchinello gets hold of that cargo, he's won and I have lost. And you'll have your work cut out for you. If you want to get to Punchinello, you will need heavy-duty persuaders. I am just the man to get them for you. Change the ship back under my flag, maybe pop 2 in the traitor Dime's head while you're at it. You'll get enough guns to start the apocalypse. You in or out?
Let's get this show on the road. Vladimir was one of those old-time bad guys with honor and morals, which made him almost one of the good guys. None of us was a saint. The Brooklyn riverfront was a maze of rusty containers, sharp-boned cranes looming up from the snowstorm. On a night like this, you couldn't help but think of the dark army of dead men sleeping with the fishes, cement shoes in line.
Now we are working in tandem with the Russian mob, specifically a man named Vladimir, who tells us that he needs a man named Boris Dime taken out as he has switched over sides to Punchinello and took over Vlad's cargo ship filled with all the things you'd need if you're going to start a mob war. We head through the shipyard, eliminating any mobsters who have turned sides. This level was so long, but the action definitely made up for it. I just hate the sniper rifle portions because just of how goofy the sniper rifle is to operate at sometimes. Nonetheless though, we make it to the cargo ship where Boris is located.
Rust had crept over the sides of the cargo steamer a long time ago. Boris Dime would be on board. I'd have to smoke half of his crew to even get near the gangplank. Guns were probably being kept in the hold, buried amidst the rats and oily water.
Clearing the top deck, we make it to the ship's control room where we receive a telephone call nearby.
Dime? Angelo Puccinello here.
Angie, tell me, how much did Dime cost you? I bet it was more than his name.
Max Payne.
Right the first time.
You're dead, punk.
You sure you're not confusing me with Boris here? But you are right, of course. Pretty soon we should get together and have a talk.
You son of a...
Pissing Punchinello off was a dangerous game, but when people get mad, they make mistakes. I should know. That's where I wanted Punchinello, mad enough to trip over his own feet, preferably into a grave.
We finally hear the voice of Don Punchinello, declaring that we should get together after we deal with Boris. Downstairs we find Boris, but he's easily taken out by a few grenades, and in the weapon storage we get a transmission from Vladimir and receive a Colt Commando, what I want to say is the best gun in the game. After we secure the ship, we meet back up with Vlad.
Did you get everything you need?
Check.
I owe you. Anything you need.
This is my solo. When I'm through, Punchinello won't be anybody's problem anymore.
Clear as vodka. But anytime you get between a rock and a hard place, just whistle. This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
You really get a bang out of this big-time gangster act, don't you? Even with all this firepower, I figured I couldn't get to Punchinello at his manor. I could only hope that he wouldn't pass a chance to hear me beg, to see he's won. This is Max Payne. I want to cut a deal.
Payne, you're a dead man.
That's what everybody keeps telling me. I got your ship and her cargo. I want to meet. No pain, no gain. Capiche?
You know my restaurant?
Yeah, I know it.
1 hour.
Punchinello's restaurant had seen better days. Snow was falling like ashes from post-apocalyptic skies, but that was outside. Things would soon get hot in the Don's restaurant. I knew it was a long shot, Angelo Punchinello actually showing up, but there was no crime in hoping.
At the restaurant, you can already guess that things don't go as planned, because once Max gets inside, the whole building is rigged to burn and blow. This turns the level into an escape sort of deal, and I always die here a few times, especially at that damn gas canister, or my timings are bad. While traversing the burning building, we find a way out through the city's sewers underground, riddled with mobsters, taking out those in our way until we're home free and we get a surprise visit.
Vlad had seen my smoke signals. The Mercedes was revving to go, almost drowning out the Banshee well of the sirens.
You coming? We'll drop you off at the Punchinello Manor.
Sounds good to me.
When this is over, look me up. I could use a professional like you.
I'll keep that in mind. The night groaned with cold. The garden lights flickered nervously. In their light, the falling snow was dead white before the darkness ate it up. I had heard the stories. The trio were mad dogs. They'd have hung the heads of their enemies over the manor gates if the capo had only let them. Punchinello wanted pain. He'd see the pain. The trick in my situation was that there was no trick, no matter what the movies tell you. No rules, no secret mantra, no roadmap. It wasn't about how smart or how good you were. It was chaos and luck, and anyone who thought different was a fool. All you could do was to hang on madly, as long and as hard as you could. Someone had graciously left the back door open for me and killed the guards. My money was on Mona. I knew the trio would be standing between me and Punchinello. I had read their rap sheets, thick as phone books. No one would be walking out of here alive. The numbing cold of the broken night had followed me in. Upstairs, the trio tangoed down the manor halls to the silent rhythm of their murderous hearts, the blood of their victims rust on their lips. Vince Mugnano, Pilot Providence, aka Big Brother, and Joe Deadpan Salem. The pistol was a frozen lump in my hand, piercing the skin, gnawing me to the bone.
In Punchinello's manor, the first thing we see is a piece of Mona's work that she had done on her way in. And if you remember earlier in the story, she had been captured and is now being tortured inside the manor.
Someone hadn't enjoyed the Don's hospitality. Someone with a flair for the dramatic. Someone who had let herself out of a locked cell and past a couple of armed guards. My thoughts were on Mona again. I could only hope she was a good enough gambler to walk away while she was still winning, before she'd run into the trio.
We shoot our way through the wine cellar into the main residence where the trio and Punchinello reside.
It didn't take me long to run into the trio. The word on Lisa Punchinello was that she was a bit of a witch. The tarot cards on the kitchen table fit the picture. They weren't my kind of cards, but I was willing to take a crack at the hand Mrs. Punchinello had dealt. The first card was the tower. Maybe that was supposed to be the manor. It got easy after that. The devil was the master of the house, and death was me, coming for him.
After picking up some painkillers, we go after the trio, starting with Pilot Providence, who we just nade spam since he has cover behind a large wooden table. Next we run into Joe Salem, but we have to be careful entering this room. On the way to finish Vince Mugiano, we find a woman's body who Max can't distinguish between Lisa, Punchinello's wife, or Mona, her sister. Seeing this stirs up unpleasant memories for Max, as this reminds him of his dead wife, Michelle.
You're a real angel, Max.
I couldn't tell whether it was Mona or her sister. The body was a mess. The sick bastard had really gotten a kick out of it. Seeing her lying there got me thinking about another woman's body on another bed. Got me thinking about a fallen cradle.
Shortly after, we receive another phone call from Alfred Woden.
Max Payne,
Talk to me.
Alfred Woden. You've got company. An armed helicopter just landed on the manor grounds. You must hurry.
The more the merrier.
Okay, now it's time to bolt since there's an armed chopper on the way, but guess who we run into on the way? Vince Mugiano. With him out of the way, the trio are finito, and we come face to face with the man Puccinello himself.
Outside my door. Hurry. It's coming for me. You gotta hurry. Please.
I could hear Puccinello on the phone begging for help. He should have been saying his goodbyes. Puccinello was a pushover. The moment I stepped into the room, he folded like a deuce before a royal flush.
No, wait. I was just doing what I was told. I couldn't refuse. She's someone high up. Government, maybe. I don't know.
He was trying to buy more sand for his hourglass. I wasn't selling any.
No, I told him not to.
As you can see, as soon as we were going to finish off Puccinello, a couple of G-men swarm in and light up the room. It's nothing Max hasn't been through before. That is, until we leave the room and this happens.
Drop it. Don't move.
Game over, Max Payne.
I could tell when I was outgunned. It was time to take another beating. The mystery witch was a real barracuda. Trouble on dagger heels, a smoking assault rifle in her hand, and an army of killer suits behind her.
How sweet. I get to kill two birds with one stone.
Sooner or later, it was going to catch up with you.
Mr. Payne, it's time to show you the benefits of my brew. Be a good boy now.
You'd find that Lady Luck was really a hooker. You were fresh out of cash.
Gentlemen, we're done here. Take me to Cold Steel.
She had just given me an OD of Valkyr. I could feel green fire eating my brains. They turned to steam. They did a fade on me. I'd never had a chance. The witch had got me just as sure as if she put a gun to my head and pulled the trigger. The shadows rushed me. Bruised mugshot faces hungry for revenge. They knew my weak spots and closed in for the kill. The floor turned into a vortex of green blood. I fell.
Alright, so we have just been drugged with enough Valkyr to OD off of, but if you paid close attention to the narration, this mystery lady called it her home brew, coupled with the fact that Puccinello claimed that this lady was essentially manipulating him, and that she was potentially someone up high in government or something. And you can tell that there's some shady business going on here. I smell a conspiracy. She also mentioned something about Cold Steel, which we will learn about later. Until we can piece this puzzle together, we are trapped in another drug-fueled nightmare where Max relives the worst moment of his life. Unlike the last nightmare, this one has a more deja vu to it, and before the platforming, this is one of my favorite parts since it has a fourth wall break.
There was something disturbingly familiar about the letter before me. The handwriting was all pretty curves.
You're in a graphic novel.
The truth split my skull open, a glaring green light washing the lies away. All of my past was just fragmented still shots, words hanging in the air like balloons. I was in a graphic novel. Funny as hell. It was the most horrible thing I could think of. Bartender is shiny stuff and dreams are made of stooped necromancers. He sings like a banana wrist, having strayed too close to the constellations on their shaved skulls. It was a bad line in a prank call. Someone spouting insane babble. I couldn't make sense of it. But I had an overwhelming sense of deja vu. The caller's voice sounded oddly familiar. There was something disturbingly familiar about the letter before me. The handwriting was all pretty curves.
You're in a computer game, Max.
The truth was a burning green crack through my brain, weapon statistics hanging in the air, glimpsed out of the corner of my eye, endless repetition of the act of shooting, time slowing down to show off my moves, the paranoid feel of someone controlling my every step. I was in a computer game. Funny as hell, it was the most horrible thing I could think of.
Don't lose it. It's Valkyr. The drug. Snap out of it. Try to remember.
It was a bad line in a prank call. Someone spouting insane babble. I couldn't make sense of it. But I had an overwhelming sense of deja vu, and the caller's voice sounded oddly familiar.
I kid you not, the slow motion made the platforming section way worse than it needed to be, and the fact that I died so many times was not helpful either. Like, listen to this. After I completed this level, I had to call it, because once I went to the restroom, like IRL, I could still hear the screams and cries in my head as if I was Max having to relive this shit. Finally, after completing the platforming, we arrive at the room where it went down to see another Max who we put down. And I like to view this as sort of like the war within himself that he's dealing with.
Max, something happened at the office today. A strange memo. Something about Vikings.
Honey, I gotta run. You can tell me all about it this evening.
Have a nice day, darling.
The bullet holes were rubies on her chest, blood glowing on her ivory skin. She was so beautiful. The killer was smiling. The flesh of fallen angels. Slowly, the green nightmare faded, leaving dark stains on my soul that would never come off. I felt like flatlining. I was all shook up. I woke up in a cold sweat, sick and tired to the bone, lying in a puddle of my own puke. The hag had said take me to Cold Steel before it had all gone crazy. It was a clue, the only one I had. It took me forever to crawl back to my feet and hit the road, but when I did, I drove straight to Cold Steel Foundry outside the city. There was a whole lot of action around the place for a freezing winter night. Trucks coming and going, men running. I had the drop on the mystery witch. She thought I was dead. I was on her blind side. I was going in. The bad trip had put me in a crazy mood, adrenaline pumping through my aching veins. Staggering on the mill roof in ice and snow and wild wind, I was a ninja. My kung fu was strong. I wasn't kidding anybody. At best, I was Superman on Kryptonite about to fall through a skylight, down to where it was all going down. A half-abandoned industrial area in the middle of nowhere. The factory was a perfect front for any number of illegal activities. In the belly of the plant, molten metal boiled and bubbled like a witch's brew.
Alright, so Cold Steel is the name of the factory outside of the city where our mystery woman is supposed to be. The place is riddled with armed agents and tripwires that we have to navigate through. In the first room we enter, another radio broadcast ensues.
Life-threatening weather conditions. A record-breaking killer storm. In the city's history. Vehicles stuck in snow. Heavy snowfall. Forecast shows severe weather is expected to continue.
Out in the night, snow fell like confetti over the Devil's Parade. The storm was anything but over.
We make our way through the factory, clearing out any hostiles we come across, and in one of the rooms we enter, there's a radio transmission from one of the personnel.
Perimeter breached. The facility has been compromised. Repeat, the Deep Six has been compromised. Initiate Operation Deadeye.
The walkie-talkie military lingo could mean only one thing. They were getting ready to destroy the evidence and vanish into the night. I was so close. The hidden truths were just around the corner.
It seems that pretty soon this Operation Deadeye, quote unquote, was going to commence and this whole place would blow up. So not quite yet, but soon we will be on a timer. In another room we find a folder left behind one of the hostiles.
The mercenaries were running a tight operation, paperwork and all.
Merchandise missing again. A chemist had tried to smuggle it out for his own private party. Locked him up in cell B7 in D6's old test facility to wait for proper processing.
I was close enough to hear the secrets, just beyond the next doorway.
A chemist in D6. Interesting, considering that we were just drugged not that long ago, and the pieces are starting to fall into place. We maneuver through obstacles such as burning gas pipes and this furnace-like room riddled with tripwires and even some platforming, until we make it to the elevator that would take us to the lower levels.
I had taken on the role of the mythic detective, Bogart as Marlowe, or as Sam Spade going after the Maltese Falcon to unravel all the mysteries. Following a path of clues to that final revelation, even if it would take me down to the cold, cavernous depths of a grave.
You can't do this! My men are still inside!
Do you have any idea why this is called Operation Deadeyes?
I think he's dead already.
Let's do it.
Attention all personnel. The self-destruction sequence has been initiated. Evacuate the complex immediately.
The G-Men have arrived to burn any and all evidence of what conspired down here, and once Max takes care of said G-Men, an insignia is spotted on the floor.
There was an old army bunker under the steel mill. I knew the military plaque on the floor. I had seen 1,000 variations of the insignia on crumbling brick walls everywhere in the city. The sword replaced by a syringe. Project Valhalla, V for Valkyr, V for Valhalla. All of a sudden it read like a crackpot conspiracy theory.
V for Valkyr, V for Valhalla. The government is involved, seeing as we're in an old military bunker under the factory. On the way, we come across a locked door that needs a key code, but thankfully one of the dead scientists left a pin on a nearby terminal. This gives us access to Block B, which is already under flames. On the same block, we find the chemist that we were searching for.
Thanks! I thought I was gonna die in there for sure.
I need you to get me through the decontamination chamber airlock.
You're crazy! No way! The place is blowing up, for Christ's sakes!
Either that or back to the cell. Your choice.
Following the chemist, we are intercepted by military hostiles, but are quickly dealt with by Max as we make our way through the decontamination chamber. Sadly, our chemist friend doesn't make it as he is gunned down by military, assumingly part of Operation Deadeyes. While we traverse the lower floors, we find a terminal with the project logo on the screen that we can interact with.
Top secret. Project Valhalla. U.S. Army. Yggdrasil Network. Valhalla, the otherworldly place in Norse mythology where the bravest heroes spent their afterlife feasting and fighting forever, their wounds miraculously healed night after night. Valkyr, the maidens who chose the most courageous Viking warriors and carried them to Valhalla. 1991. The research objective is to create a chemical substance to enhance the stamina and morale of infantry troops. 1995. Results unsatisfactory. Project cancelled.
Someone had decided to continue the sick experiment unauthorized.
Project compromised. Data leak. Fix the damage by any means necessary. Security clearance red. Authorized by the project lead. Field test. Double the dosage for all the remaining test subjects. Observe and record the subject's behavior in an urban setting.
The drop-off point was my old address in New Jersey. The file dated 3 years ago. Just when you thought you had reached the deepest depths of horror, it suddenly got worse. How to turn off that small voice inside your head that started to whisper that you should be glad that now, if not before, your revenge was justifiable on any conceivable moral scale. That small voice proved, beyond any doubt, that I was damned.
Okay, so we just had a huge revelation. Valkyr was actually a government/military experiment that was supposed to be used to boost stamina and morale for their troops. The project was a failure and subsequently cancelled, but someone decided to continue the experiment. If you caught on to the second part of the narration, the second voice was a lady who sounded familiar to the mystery woman who drugged us, alongside with evidence that these people had conducted a field test where they doubled the dose for their test subjects and dropped them off at Max's house 3 years ago and murdered our loved ones. Now that we know our mystery woman had bailed, it's time to make our escape as well. When we go through the decontamination chamber, an explosion goes off and the door is non-functional. With 30 seconds on the clock, there's no time to waste before this all blows up in our faces. And if you make the mistake of standing in the middle of the elevator, when it blows up, you will be trapped and have to restart this section from the main menu, so failure is almost not an option.
Piece together a jigsaw and the final picture is you finishing that same puzzle. A mad, green-eyed killer standing behind you. An urban legend come true. The Project Valhalla test subjects had been the mad junkies who had murdered my loved ones. The rest was simple body count math. It all pointed to her. Ms. Valkyr. The factory went up in a fiery inferno behind me. All my leads were dead, turned to smoke and dust. I'd lost my way. I hadn't slept in a million years. I felt thin as death. I've been living on an endless supply of week-old donuts. They were fuel for this crazy furnace inside my head. I couldn't remember when I had last seen the sun. I was on a permanent graveyard shift. When the darkness fell, New York City became something else. Any old Sinatra song notwithstanding. Bad things happened in the night, on the streets of that other city, Noir York City. I was in an all-night diner, downing cup after cup of coffee that tasted like engine oil, when a new message from BB got me back on the killer track.
What the hell happened at Roscoe Street? Maxie, I'm going out on a limb here. We need to talk this through, come up with a plan. 2:30 a.m., the Choir Communications Garage.
The more I thought about Alex's murder and the frame-up, the more it felt like an inside job. I should have seen it coming. BB had sold me out, and now he wanted to finish what he'd started. The garage was dead. BB showed up in his tailor-made suit, gold watch, and cufflinks to match. All way beyond a cop's pay.
Maxie.
Oozing suave charm, he was guilty as hell. What the hell does BB stand for anyway? Backstabbing bastard?
Come on, don't be like that. Have a cigar.
I don't smoke.
Maxie, you have no idea how big this is. It's huge. You have no idea.
I think I do. You're a bribe-taking bent cop who sold out his partner. Those mobsters in the subway were a dead giveaway. Hard to miss. Bet it was exactly like this with Alex. Up close and personal.
You can't win this one, Max.
No, but I can make damn sure none of you do either. BB turned out to be another cardboard cutout bad guy.
There's corruption everywhere. It seems as BB, who was one of our contacts while we were undercover during our time at Roscoe Street, turned out to be a backstabbing bastard that had set up Alex with the mob and got him killed. Now he wanted to tie up one more loose end. Chase ensues through the parking garage as Max is eager to get his revenge on BB. A mix of gunshots and explosions fill the space as we fight our way through a shit ton of mobsters and corrupt policemen. We acquire the jackhammer, slug shotgun as well, which we will definitely be putting to use. Not long do we come face to face with the bastard BB himself and avenge Alex. After our fight, the telephone rings.
Yeah.
Max Payne?
Whatever does it for you.
This is Alfred Woden. I can give you the name of your enemy. Come to the Asgard building presently. We are expecting you.
Woden was waiting for me on the steps of the old building.
Mr. Payne, let's go inside. The others are anxious to begin.
The others?
Despite the general misconception, this building actually predates the City Hall by 2 years, thus being the oldest municipal building still in use here at the foot of the Brooklyn Bridge.
No kidding. The old man played tour guide as he led me through a dark, domed hall. The answers I was after loomed large ahead.
Mr. Payne, I would like to introduce you to my colleagues in what we call the Inner Circle.
You've been watching too much X-Files.
You have seen the files on Project Valhalla. We can fill the gaps, provide you with the information missing from those files. We were all involved in the early stages of the project during the Gulf War.
What's the catch?
We would very much like to blow this thing wide open, but our hands are tied. Her name is Nicole Horn. She was the key figure in Project Valhalla. When the funding was discontinued, she simply refused to quit. She knew exactly what she had in her hands. Nicole Horn is the president of Acer Corporation. She has more than half the city in her pocket. This must be kept under wraps. If you try to go public with this, we will deny any knowledge. We need you to take her out. Afterwards, we can protect you. Make all the charges go away.
That was the cue for the killer suits to kick in the doors and swarm inside. It was an impressive floor show, but I decided to leave early anyway. It was only a one-story floor. Lucky
We have a name for our mystery woman now who goes by Nicole Horn, president of the Acer Corporation, the same corporation that the Lupino mob family were trying to rob at the beginning of the game, the same woman who drugged us, and the same woman who was a lead that continued the Project Valhalla after it was cancelled. As you saw, when we found out that what we needed to know, 2 G-men came in and lit the place up, killing the inner circle. The building is flooded by military as we must once again fight our way through until we enter a monitor room where we see something interesting on the screen.
On screen, the so-called corpse of Alfred Woden stood up, miraculously waking from his dirt nap, looking smug among his dead pals. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I didn't know how he'd pulled it off, but it was a pretty slick way to get out of all his promises. Most of what he had said fit too well to be a load of crap.
Continuing our escape, Max enters a room where a letter and tape on the table acting as insurance for Max.
Nicole Horn had blackmailed the inner circle into silence. The tape came with a curt extortion note on a piece of expensive paper. I remembered Candy Dawn taping her clients in action on the side, selling the tapes to the highest bidder. I was sure that kinky sex was nowhere near Alfred Woden's worst sin, but I had a feeling that when this was over, any collateral would come in handy. Woden had taken care of my mission preps with military precision. The critical areas in the Acer Corporation headquarters blueprints were circled in red. The president's office was at the top of the building, right below her penthouse suite. The elevators were controlled by a security computer, part of the mainframe located underground below the building. The high-rise was sealed as tight as a sci-fi fortress.
With that blueprint, we have the outline and location of our target, Nicole Horn, in the Acer Corporation HQ, and that's where we would be heading next. After dodging tripwires and more enemies, we find a note in the file storage room that dates the inner circle to decades back, pulling the string on events from the shadows.
Project Valhalla had not been the only thing the inner circle had been involved in. There were rows of cabinets full of files. The Serpentine Secret Society went back a long way, always pulling strings from the shadows. I couldn't say I was sorry. Woden's move in some Byzantine power game had cut the circle's membership roster to 1. The old man wanted me on cleanup duty. It was my mess too.
When we make it to the main entrance, Max is ambushed by G-men but quickly disposes of them as we make our escape from the municipal building.
Mine wasn't the most original approach to the problem. It wasn't as if it hadn't all been done before. An eye for an eye, the first principle of revenge. Old as dirt, still going strong. The cardinal rule in going after someone with an intention to kill was not to make it personal, which it almost always ended up being anyway. It did with me. I took my time, cruising around the city in the snow. There was no hurry. I knew what I had to do now. I took my time, thinking about it, building up the rage. When I was ready, I parked the stolen wheels at the front entrance of the Acer Corporation headquarters. Got out, got in, got cracking. I had a bullet with Nicole Horn's name on it. I had 10,000 bullets with the hag's name on them. She had ultra-high-tech security systems, enough mercenaries and weaponry to start World War III. There was no fear. New York disappeared behind a veil of snow. I had crossed the threshold. This was her domain, sleek and sexy and soulless, all glass and steel. A place of color-coded security keycards, metal detectors, and surveillance systems. Colder than a walk-in fridge. Cold as a gun.
We are now in the final stretch of the game in what I would say is the hardest level in the game. Okay, as soon as you walk in, you get ambushed by 3 mercenaries with machine pistols that will fuck you up, and on top of that, there are 3 more men with grenade launchers that can one-tap you if you had to use the painkillers after that last bunch, and you have to use this wonky sniper rifle to take them out. It's not over as more men start flooding in from the stairs. Thankfully, you get a couple painkillers on the way. Going up, you have to deal with tripwires and mercenaries. This is one of those parts where you don't want to die. After you kill them all on this floor, you can pick up some painkillers in the corner of the area. Continuing our ascent, Max comes across a tripwire field where we have to kind of parkour over. And if you see my health at the bottom left, I basically started this level 1 HP, so I had to make perfect use of my movement and bullet time to get past this point. No mistakes were allowed, or so it should have been, but I died here like 5 or 6 times. When you do pass this section, there's more men with shotguns, but once you wipe them out, you can pick up some more painkillers. As soon as you pick them up though, more hostiles enter. We make quick work of them however, and make our way into the elevator.
Mona, looking good.
Max, we gotta stop meeting like this.
It will be a cold day in hell before I let a narc cop stop me. Miss Sachs, do your job.
Relax, Max. You're a nice guy. I don't kill nice guys.
You're not bad yourself.
It was different when Horn wanted Punchinello dead. To cut her ties to the Mafia, he deserved to die.
The same goes with her. She's the bad guy here. Her sister was whispering to her in my favor. I knew the appetites of ghosts intimately. They hungered for revenge.
No!
A gunshot boomed and she fell down in slow motion. She was a nice girl, not really a stone-cold killer. And now she was stone-cold dead. Like religious fanatics or loyal samurai, Horn's private army was coming at me.
Mona had been shot in the elevator, but as we will see, once we open the elevator, her body is gone. This won't be the last time we see Mona in the series.
When the elevator came back down, Mona was gone. There was a lot of blood, but no body. Something clicked for the final time. My mind had never been so clear, as if somewhere high above the storm clouds were already gone, cold stars blazing from the black skies.
Using the elevator is even dangerous as tripwires fill the vacant space, and if you die here like I did, then you have to start all the way back at the tripwire field. This was infuriating for me, but hey, we got it done. On the floor above, more G-men fill the scene as we take them out. In the next room, we activate the elevator from the control room before a surprise attack. In the elevator, we are attacked by an armed chopper courtesy of Nicole Horton. We escape into the adjacent elevator and make our way into the security room, where we gain access to the presidential office and penthouse by shooting the power terminal. We know where Nicole is hiding, and it's only a matter of time before she gets what's coming to her. With how bullshit this level can be, the revenge feels so much better when we get to that point. Using that same elevator, we make our way to the presidential office while taking out any hostiles in our way. Inside the office, Nicole's personal computer was left on.
Next to the printer was a neat stack of expensive paper. Hacking through Horn's computer would have unearthed files of criminal plans, strategies for world domination, spy helicopter reports, illegal wiretap recordings, internet porno, all of the above. Take your pick. I really didn't care anymore. I had seen too much of it already.
There is more to Nicole than just being the lead of Project Valhalla and president of Aesir. She was also involved in some pretty fucked up shit, as Max pointed out, but it's nothing we haven't seen this whole game. Another elevator opens up that we can use to access the penthouse suite where Nicole resides.
Valkyr had been meant to be a white-winged maiden that would lift you to a warrior's heaven, but it turned out to be a one-way demon ride to hell. The devil was in the drug. I knew. I had met him. And now I was gonna kill her. The queen of the underworld who had tried to lift herself a bit closer to heaven with her drug money. No begging, no bribes. She knew better. Honor among killers. We who were about to die. Both of us knew how this would end. In pain and suffering.
All this because your wife stuck her nose into things that were none of her business.
The cops were coming to take me away. The sirens were like a bad conscience I couldn't shake.
It's ridiculous you've made it this far. You won't be alive when they get here.
Stop him!
The chase is on for Nicole to bring justice to Max's wife and daughter, while indirectly bringing justice to the streets of New York City. Now, on top of dealing with the G-Men, we have to deal with that same armed chopper from earlier. After dodging bullets and pumping them, the chopper fucks off, and for good reason, because there's a shitload of more G-Men flooding in and on the way to Nicole that we have to fight through. After some platforming and evading the chopper, we can make our ascent up the elevator. Each room now requiring perfect gunplay and discipline because you do not want to restart this section. Painkillers are rarely dropped here, so you cannot get hit, otherwise you get put into this scenario like that's being shown here where I'm 1 HP having to deal with this shit. And watch how I die here to this dude just hiding in a corner real quick. When we finish that section, there's a room where we enter that seems inconspicuous at first, until you see a secret button on the side that we press to find Nicole running after throwing a nade at us. She's trying to hitch a ride on a chopper and make her escape, but Max be damned if she does. The tower is unstable, so we shoot the support anchors and blow up the tower to have it fall on the chopper Nicole is on, downing it and killing all inside a pool of flames, and subsequently cutting off the control and power she once had. Nicole had been eliminated, and the demons that haunted Max had been exorcised. He is at peace, as the NYPD and SWAT converge on him.
They were all dead. The final gunshot was an exclamation mark to everything that had led to this point. I released my finger from the trigger. And then it was all over. The storm seemed to lose its frenzy. The ragged clouds gave way to the stars above.
Max Payne, this is Deputy Chief Jim Bravura from the NYPD. We've got the building surrounded. Throw down your weapons and lie down with your hands behind your head.
A bit closer to heaven. The cops' voices were distant and muted.
Freeze! NYPD! Hold it right there!
My ghosts released me from their haunting. Down below, New York City glittered like diamonds on black velvet.
You gave us one hell of a ride. Take him down to Central Booking.
You heard the man.
Woden was there in the crowd, standing by the sidelines. It wouldn't be over till the man with the patch would say so. He'd say the right words. I knew he would. He'd better. Woden grinned smugly. It was the grin of a winner. That made two of us.
We see the same scene that the game started at. The final gunshot was an exclamation point to everything that had led up to this point. The snowstorm reflecting emotional coldness and cleansing. The Valkyr drug referencing Norse mythology as Valkyries guide the souls to the afterlife. The comic book panels blur fiction and reality, reflecting Max's unreliable narration. Max Payne is a game about trauma, fate, and the illusion of control, wrapped in the trappings of a noir revenge tale. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.